Gentlemen, I am glad you're here. This week, we are joined by Uncle Dane and my beautiful co-host, Matthew Rawlings. And today, we have a lot of fun things to talk about. However, we will be taking a moment of silence for our fallen hero, Master Chief. Upset that Halo Infinite was delayed.
Is that your... Wait, that was the thing you wanted to show us? Was the Halo theme song original?
Yeah. I needed to have a moment of silence. It was less so about your reaction and more so your lack of reaction because Chief is fallen.
You could have just told us to not say anything.
Yeah, but it's about respect, Dane.
All right. Yeah, I guess you're right. I do have I have the aesthetic and the feel, the feel of the moment. Yeah, I mean, I was looking forward to playing Halo this year, but at the same time, I can wait. I don't really have a big problem with it. I watched the gameplay footage that they put out. Looks interesting. Do you know exactly? I'm so passively interested in Halo, the new Halo at least, to where I've never really looked into it, but when they say that it's open world, is it like truly open world? Because from the gameplay that they showed, it just kind of seemed like it was open world in the same way that like the first Halo was, where you just kind of like can go a large distance.
Yeah, they haven't shown a whole lot, but I think it's more like that, but bigger. Yeah, it's like a even larger level. Like I'm picturing it's gonna be like a smaller Far Cry 3.
Well, I believe the pitch that 343 went with for this game was like Skyrim plus Halo, and I think it's supposed to be a big open world. But in a interview with Larry Herb, Xbox Live's Major Nelson, when he was talking about the game, he said, "Theme song."
Fuck you. Fuck you. I was interested.
Yeah.
Wait, he didn't actually say that it's Skyrim plus Halo because from the gameplay
that's real.
saw, it definitely doesn't seem like that.
That is real. It is a real thing. What? I read that the pitch for this game was Skyrim plus Halo. Before the game was developed.
They kept the graphics too.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the graphics were supposed to be in the style of Halo Combat Evolved, but that clearly did not go over well.
The style?
Well, I mean, if they were targeting Halo Anniversary, they did it.
Yeah, it looks like about the same as the remaster of Halo Combat Evolved, which I loved. I mean, I have no problem with it.
I mean, it's probably got the same kind of problem. I mean, like, it isn't a great comparison because the art style of Breath of the Wild lends so well to the game. But, I mean, considering it took 7 years for Breath of the Wild to get made, and by the time that they were actually finished with it, they had already moved on to the next-gen console, and, like, they released it for both the Wii U and the Switch. I would imagine that a big reason why Halo 5, or Halo Infinite, rather, looks like that is because they were probably developing it, like, back when the Xbox One was like the console that they were building it off of.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and it's gonna be on it still too, so it can't look amazing, but at the same time it's still kind of, I mean, I don't even really care about the graphics. Like, it looks fine enough for me, so
yeah. I mean, I'll still play it, I'll still buy it, and like I'll probably have fun with the game, but I don't know, the delay doesn't really mean anything to me.
Yeah, I was just excited to play it, and now I just have to wait longer, an indefinite amount of time, sometime in 2021, which is to me a bummer, but obviously keep that bun in the oven for as long as it takes. That's always my opinion with
Sure,
with software in general.
They delayed Animal Crossing and that worked out, I think. Game turned out to be really good. So
yeah, and actually,
yeah, it's just crazy because they this was their like app for the Series X, you know?
Yeah.
Which is like it's launching with, I don't know, there's like a handful
with
of new
Bug
games
Snacks
on it.
yeah.
It's Bug Snacks on Xbox?
No, I don't think so. It's PlayStation and PC.
Really? Okay.
I was today actually. I was scrolling the TL and saw a friend of the show, Washington Post video games reporter Gene Park, tweeted that apparently the development of Halo Infinite was in part delayed because there was a big focus in the studio to, I guess, tie it to an in-development Halo TV show.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
I mean, I think it was the Washington Post article. You should go check it out.
Yeah, but see, that doesn't make. I mean, it makes sense that you want the two to go hand in hand, but at the same time, a show that's probably gonna get sacked or suck, delaying your actual killer thing for your new console generation that's gonna like determine adoption and sales. That seems like a weird thing to prioritize. Like a very un-Microsoft, like modern day Microsoft thing. Like maybe under Ballmer, this was something they would have done, but like this sounds.
I don't know. It sounds like Halo, like you were saying, and like I believe, Halo Infinite was going to be the game of Xbox One Series X and still will be. So I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft's plan was to just totally do a big blowout for Halo, do a TV show, do the game, have all sorts of like multimedia stuff everywhere, just like kind of like Fortnite, like the Fortnite model. Not that Fortnite has a TV show, although I bet that's in the works. But that Fortnite is just everywhere. I bet Microsoft had a lot riding on this.
I heard that they were making a Halo movie like a long time ago.
Yeah, there's been a Halo. Well, they've been trying to do like something film related with Halo forever. Because like the entire first half of the Xbox One generation, they were trying to do a bunch of movie and film things. Like they had the what was that show? They did a show game hybrid, didn't they?
It was called like Nightfire or something, like Nightfall. Something.
It was something.
I think it was called Halo
like
Nightfall.
Some third-person action game that they also had a TV show with, but like it, I don't know, it didn't do great. And at the end of the day, it's like
well, the history of Halo's movie adaptation is pretty interesting and has actually created some, in my opinion, really awesome stuff. Because Halo, the first Halo movie, and please correct me if I'm wrong, listeners, viewers, consumers, the first Halo movie was going to be directed by, I don't remember who, maybe Neil Blomkamp. I think it was Neil Blomkamp. And they went and started pre-production, I think finished pre-production of the Halo movie or got close to it. And then the movie was canceled, but they still had a whole bunch of the production out in, I think, New Zealand or Australia. And they just pivoted to make District 9, a movie that went on to be nominated for an Academy Award. Is one of my favorite sci-fi movies from the past few years or past decade at this point. Have you guys seen District 9? Neil Blomkamp's movie?
I love that movie.
So that movie, the only reason why it exists is because the Halo movie was not made. But I think you get a sense of what vibe they were going for with the Halo movie. If you've seen District 9 or Elysium. And that movie kickstarted Neil Blomkamp's whole career, and I think he's made some awesome movies since. So I'm not mad about everything that's happened with the Halo movie stuff.
Oh, I'm not either. I think a Halo movie would suck.
I think it'd be cool.
I've always kind of had this weird reservation about a Halo movie where it's like, I like the games, but like, does it translate to film? I don't think it would. It's like, Halo's fun because of like the experience of like exploring the lore for yourself rather than, I don't know, the storytelling isn't necessarily amazing, but the world building is. So it's like, you'd have to have like a really good story along with the other elements. And that's kind of like, I don't know. it's up in the air with those kinds of movies because video game movies typically don't have very good stories.
But imagine if you got like, I don't know, I'm gonna pronounce his name incorrectly, but Denis Villeneuve. Yeah. Yeah. Imagine him helming a Halo movie. That'd be something.
That'd be cool. I mean, like, I really like the way his movies look. He's a really good director, and I mean, I don't know how much he contributes to the cinematography, but all of his movies have good cinematography. So, I don't know. It would probably look a lot better than the average person directing it. But like I said, like the benefit of doing a Halo movie is that you already have the good world building, you already have the good like characters, but you need like good writing, you know? You need good writing to like make it all a good package. And I feel like when people make these video game movies, they think that they can just ride off of the notoriety, and they can just be like, oh yeah, like people like the video game, they're gonna like the movie. It doesn't really matter like what the story is. We can just make this some basic white bread thing. But then the movie ends up sucking because it's not interesting, because everybody's already experienced all of the other elements that you're putting into the movie in the game, and now they just want like you to tell a good story out of the elements that they already know. And when they were developing a Halo movie, it was always in the back of my mind where it's just like, I hope that they either tell like the story that is already in the Halo video games, but they like put a really cool spin on it or something, or they just completely tell an entirely new thing, like completely uncanon, that like is still really good.
See, I know they would definitely do a Master Chief, like following vaguely the events of one of the games, probably the first one, if they were to do a Halo movie, but it would be so cool. Just like it would be so cool if they did more Star Wars movies that were just like not connected in any way whatsoever to the Luke Skywalker greater family tree. It would be really cool to just do like a cool side story, not side story, but just a cool story unrelated to Master Chief about, all of the different alien factions in the Halo universe.
Yeah. Like I would love an Arbiter movie.
An Arbiter movie, a flood, like a horror movie about the flood would be really cool.
Yeah, I know you like that. But the Arbiter is like the best character in the series. He's like
the Arbiter's really badass, really cool design too. Like he looks awesome.
Yeah, and the voice actor is awesome.
Yeah, who is the voice actor?
I don't remember his name, but he does a lot of voice acting for stuff.
Yeah. Oh, it's Troy Baker. That's it.
Ah, okay.
But I think a good question is, what are, besides franchises that have already had film adaptations or were already like heavily rumored for them, like Halo, what video games would you, if you were given a blank check from Steven Spielberg's company or whatever to make a video game movie, what video game would you adapt?
I know my answer. Do you want to go first, Matt, if you have something?
You go first. I'm thinking.
Okay. I know for a fact that I would want to make an Elder Scrolls movie.
Oh, dude. That'd
because,
be so cool.
like, I mean, I didn't really get into Game of Thrones, but I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. And I really like Skyrim and all of the Elder Scrolls game for that matter, because they're like kind of a mixture of sci-fi and what is it? Fantasy. And it's most apparent in Morrowind. And whenever they made the switch to Oblivion, they kind of went back to like Cyrodiil is more of like a classical Lord of the Rings-ish kind of place. Like the creatures are all just like deer and bears and stuff. And then in Skyrim, they just kind of they went a little bit back to the weirdness that Morrowind had, but it was still like heavily based on existing Nordish culture, where it was like the Nords are a real thing in real life, and they base them off of that, and there's still like, I don't know, deer and bears and stuff. There's a whole lot of weirdness, but in Morrowind in particular, like almost all of the creatures are very alien, and that's what I always kind of liked about the world. Morrowind itself is very weird and alien, and I would like to make a movie based on that kind of part of the Elder Scrolls universe. I also really like the like the gods of the world, because like it's very much its own, like it has its own rule system, like a rule set and stuff of like the gods are kind of like more demonish than goddish, if that makes sense. And that kind of makes it for an interesting like power struggle between mortals and stuff. And I don't know, I'd like to see more of that realized on screen because I think that it has a lot of potential. And if I were given a blank check, I would probably make not a Morrowind movie specifically, but definitely focusing on the weird part of the Elder Scrolls universe for sure.
Yeah, I think that would be amazing. And I think there's just a cool thing about that franchise is that I think when people think of the Elder Scrolls, they don't think of a storyline. They think of the world, and that gives you could do anything with that. There's not that baggage of, well, I guess you got to make the Master Chief movie. Like who is the Master Chief of Elder Scrolls? There isn't one. Besides, I guess that funny follower guy you have in Oblivion with the yellow hair. I like that guy.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the memes, of course, stand out. But I mean, when it came to Morrowind, like the story, I think that if I were to like rate different elements of each of the major Bethesda games, like Morrowind has the best story by far, even though it is kind of like a very unoriginal like prophecy story, I guess. There is a lot of like weird conflict and betrayal that happens all throughout the entire storyline, and that makes it pretty interesting to watch or play at least. And I think that if they incorporated some like actual drama that wasn't like I guess what the thing that I would focus on if I were to like make something based on existing material is like the material exists as kind of like a buffer, and it's kind of like, oh, this is like an interesting world that we live in, but the real thing that you're focusing on is the drama that's happening within it. And if you make the movie or the show or whatever too much about the world, I guess, where it's just like you cut away from the story to show some weird thing happening, it's like, oh, that's cool little backdrop, but it's not something to like make the entire movie about, right? The thing is about these people and the people who are like struggling within this world or whatever, and there's some conflict or something, like that should be the main focus of like the story, I think. And it would be cool if more people like tried to do that with like fantasy and stuff like that. Because like the Lord of the Rings is a great example. It's like the world of Lord of the Rings is there, but there isn't a whole lot of like moments in the movie or the book where they're just like they're focused so solely on like, oh, isn't this world crazy? This world that we live in is crazy. There's no like I mean, the fish out of water is Frodo for the most part, like, and that's like what the audience for the most part relies on for like reassurance in this alien world that they're not a part of. But Frodo is still a part of Middle Earth. Like, he's still like a hobbit. He's still weird. His culture is still interesting, but they don't like make that a huge deal, you know? They focus on like the struggles of the characters and like the intimate relationships. And the most interesting parts of Lord of the Rings to me are like Denethor and his sons and like their conflict, and like Boromir's like trying to make his father happy, but it also doesn't want to like, I don't know, let his soul get the best of him. It's like these things are very human, and you don't really need Lord of the Rings to tell these stories, but it's still with all happening within this fantastic world. And it's awesome, and I would want to bring that to like an Elder Scrolls kind of thing. That would be neat.
Yeah, I think that given the right creative team behind that, I mean, that could be just a total home run.
Yeah, for sure. Matt, do you have one?
Yeah, I'm conflicted. I was gonna say Fallout, but they're making that show,
yeah, they are.
So it's already gonna happen. And you already did Bethesda, so my other one, I don't know if it counts. Does it specifically have to be a video game?
Yes.
Okay, this is technically a video game.
Okay.
It's also not. But I think Magic would make a really good
I'll give it to you. Yeah.
background for a movie or a TV show or anything, because it's a lot of the points that like Dane was saying is, I think if you want to make, I think the best movies are when the people creating it, they have the freedom to do what they want with it and don't have to follow some like, the tale of Master Chief or something that some video game writer wrote. Like, they can go anywhere they want with it. And then with Magic, it's like, okay, so you just have this world or worlds that have been developed for the past 25 years. And the only thing you really need to show in this is that people can go to different worlds at a moment's notice. So I think it would lend to a lot of creative freedom for a director. And there's a lot of different... I see you Googling things. Are you looking at Geralf? Is that his name?
Dude, how'd you know I was going to say that?
You look at Magic Zombie. Yeah, but like you could do like... Just like Magic, you could do a whole movie on Innistrad, and it's already great. It's like this really good gothic horror.
What's that guy's name? Geralt? It's not Geralf?
Yeah.
Geralf.
I think it's Geralf.
Yeah, he's the like zombie scientist who you never see in that block, but you just hear about all of his creations. Dude, I love that lore so much. It's so creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's all the best. See, like Magic does kind of have a central story now. Like they follow these like center group of planeswalkers, and there's like story arcs that they go on. But the best lore in Magic has always just been like the weird stories they publish to flesh out what these worlds are and to kind of give them more character. Like another character they added to Innistrad was this giant frog monster called the Gitrog monster. That like, I think it like mind controlled like a village to have people come to the swamp so it could eat them or something weird cool. Like that. Like, and I think they wrote the story through the perspective of somebody that was going under the mind control that it was doing.
That's cool.
And so there's like a lot of instances where you can tell cool tales. So I just think it would be there's a lot of material there. And I think a creative person could easily tell their own story while still following a lot of the stuff that players would expect to see. So, yeah, that's what I would do.
That's good.
See, they would make that. Oh, go on.
Oh no, it all comes back to like my point where if you have like a good foundation, then you have all this room to make a story, make a good story out of it.
Yeah, there. In terms of, actually, a follow-up question I want to get to is who you would have make these movies, because I think that's also an interesting conversation. But for what franchise I think or not franchise but game I think would be an awesome movie, and I'm sure this has been talked about a bunch, but as far as I know it's never been talked about seriously as if it's ever going to happen, is a Bloodborne movie. I think that world is just so cool, and the way the story is told, like, I mean, people are gonna be scratching their heads when I say this, but in Bloodborne, like, the story is really not what you're there for. It's like the environmental storytelling. So in a similar way as kind of both of your guys' examples, there's just this huge world with all of these weird characters and creepy cosmic horror elements. There's just so much you could do with it without being beholden to like whatever the story in Bloodborne is, where there's like a hunter who is in a dream who's trying to fight the Lovecraft monsters. And I vaguely know the story. I could go into Bloodborne's story, but that's not what this pod is about. And that's not the important part. That I think that what makes it such a cool option for a movie is I just think that the tone and aesthetic of Bloodborne is something that not a ton of movies have really nailed, at least recently. I mean, you have gothic horror from, like the beginning of cinema with movies like Dracula and Nosferatu and movies like that. But recently, I mean, the only movie I could think of recently, and it's not even that recent, that has attempted this kind of like gothic horror adventure is like Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman. And that movie sucks. I mean, it's fun, but it totally sucks. And a gothic horror meets giant squid monster movie, I think is just I think that could be so cool, so fun, and really, honestly, really scary too, because a lot of the stuff in Bloodborne is really, really creepy. There's this one, I don't know how familiar guys you are with the lore of Bloodborne, but there's this one part of the game where you go to this university where there was all of these scholars trying to study the old ones, who were these like Lovecraft monsters, these like giant spider-like creatures that are from outer space that are covered in eyeballs, where these scholars were like obsessed with the eyeball notion, the eyeball part of the cosmic space monsters, and attempted to like put eyeballs all over themselves. And you go in there and fuck them up. It's really creepy, and I think there's a lot you could do with it. And again, you wouldn't be beholden necessarily to one story. You just have a giant playground to work with in terms of all of the cool environmental storytelling that kind of did the heavy lifting for setting the tone of that game.
Who would you have direct it or make it?
Wes Anderson. No, Wes Anderson's Bloodborne. No, I mean, that would be awesome. I bet he could direct a cool Bloodborne movie. But that's a good question. Who would I have directed? I think when you were talking about Lord of the Rings, Dane, the first thing that came to my mind was Peter Jackson. I think a Peter Jackson Bloodborne movie would be really cool. I mean, some of my favorite parts of Lord of the Rings are like the undead army and the scene where Frodo goes, I forget, you'll know the name of it, but when Frodo and Sam are walking across that Marsh of the Dead, it might just be called the Marsh of the Dead, with all of those, like all of the dead elves in the marsh trying to pull them under. Yeah. I think he very beautifully renders in his movies believably scary worlds. I mean, you have Mordor.
Yeah.
And also, what I like about Peter Jackson too, and you see this in his earlier movies, is like a really over-the-top sense of gore. And Bloodborne is a very gory game. So by having just super goopy blood all over the place, I would also really love that.
Yeah, that's true. He has like he's a very interesting person because he's got like a really good eye for good like filmmaking, but he also has this weird obsession with gore and like campy shit.
Yeah, and I really love that. I love camp. And though, I mean, if either of you have played Bloodborne, you'll know that Bloodborne is not a campy game, but I think that would be a cool element to bring to it a little bit, at least in a movie.
I think that would ruin it.
Yep.
It seems like a very serious kind of setting that it's in. I don't know. I think a lot of people would be upset.
I would eat that up, dude. I would absolutely eat that up. Another option I think that's in a similar vein, but not one that would appease those people's complaints, would be Sam Raimi, the guy who directed the Spider-Man films. He also directed a movie I really like called Drag Me to Hell, which you guys might have seen. It's like a 2007 or 2008 horror film.
Yeah, I watched that at your recommendation, I think.
Yeah, I think that movie's really cool, and I think he could do a good job with Bloodborne. He's done a ton of big budget fantasy type movies. I would like that. I would like a Sam Raimi kind of weird Bloodborne movie. Those are probably weird answers, though.
I think
there's probably better
directors.
Yeah. I mean, that's the question. Who would I choose? Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a more, a more acceptable answer for someone who could direct a Bloodborne film. I'm coming up blank. Do you guys have any ideas? Who would you think would be?
I don't know.
Like
I've never seen.
Audience
I don't know
choice.
anything about Bloodborne. So
okay.
Dude, what about Ari Aster?
Ari Aster, that could be cool.
Name?
I don't know if I'd trust. So for the record, okay, I just actually thought of someone who would probably do it the best. I'll mention that after this, but Ari Aster, in my opinion, is one of the best new directors working that I have seen. I think back to back, his movies have impressed me in a really crazy way. I would say him and Jordan Peele are probably my favorite new directors in terms of they just started putting out feature films. And I like him a lot, but I don't know if I would trust his method of filmmaking in building out a big world. And in a Bloodborne game, I would want that world out there, not necessarily focused on, like in Lord of the Rings, how you have, there's this whole big world out there, but a lot of the time you're focusing on just the relationships between a couple of hobbits running across the country. I would want that world fleshed out, and Ari Aster's movies are not like grandiose world building films, although I would definitely say they have a cool element of digging through lore that's presented more or less off screen, like Hereditary, even probably more so than Midsommar. And I think those films are both excellent, but I think a director who has already shown to be great at and actually started in horror films, has done great fantasy films, has done big budget films, and adaptations, is Guillermo Del Toro. I changed my answer. Guillermo Del Toro's Bloodborne would be fucking perfect. Guillermo Del Toro should direct everything. He's just, every movie he does, just speaks to me in a way that not a lot of other directors' work does. He has that element of camp, and I love camp, but his production value is just so high and like lovingly crafted. Like one of my favorite movies ever is Pan's Labyrinth, and there's some parts of that movie that are kind of cheesy or over the top in like a Sam Raimi kind of way, where just like the way it's filmed is a little melodramatic, I would say, but it's rooted in such a cool world building and like puppetry driven fantasy aesthetic that almost makes me think of like, it definitely makes me think of movies like Dark Crystal or Labyrinth, which are movies I really like. And I love the way they look and present fantasy and horror in some aspects. And I mean, Guillermo Del Toro just knows how to make like a fucking awesome action movie too. Like Pacific Rim has some of the best like science fiction action out there. And Bloodborne, I would say, isn't really science fiction, but I guess it could be argued that it is. But I think, if you've seen, what's that movie called? Crimson Peak. Crimson Peak is an awesome kind of Victorian horror film, like haunted house movie that came out. That's the one he did right before Shape of Water, which is one of the better movies to come out in the past few years, in my opinion. Guillermo Del Toro absolutely would just annihilate that Bloodborne movie.
And he's great at world building.
Yeah.
Have you seen Trollhunters?
Yeah, that's a great. Trollhunters is an awesome movie.
No, the show.
Oh, for a second I thought Guillermo del Toro like produced Trollhunter. It's like a Swedish movie.
movie.
No, that show is also really good. Trollhunters.
Yeah.
He has Trollhunters and then Arcadia. I think those animated shows on Netflix are really good.
Yeah, he has he did. People liked that first show, that Trollhunter show, so much that they turned it into like a mini cinematic universe.
It's really cool.
Where they were telling stories and like that all connected. Yeah, they're about to finish it up. Like I think next year they're having a full like feature length movie come out that's gonna wrap up the whole connected universe.
That's so cool. So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't there supposed to be a new series in that universe called Wizards coming out this year?
Yeah, it just came out.
Oh, cool. Oh, is it good?
Yeah, it's a lot better than the show that was in between called Three Below wasn't very good at all. But Wizards really stepped it up. Because Wizards is basically just like it's Trollhunters, but there's a different main character it focuses on, and it just kind of follows him, but it has like the entire cast of that original show.
Oh, cool.
For the most part. Yeah, and then Three Below kind of tried to do that where they had similar background characters, but they like kind of got rid of all the other stuff and it just didn't fit very well. But yeah, it's all pretty good. Like Trollhunters and Wizards are like, I think anybody should watch those just if you like good world building. Like it's not as good as this one show I'm gonna compare it to, but it still does a good job with world building, like Avatar.
I was thinking the same thing.
Avatar is one of like the best kid focused shows with the best world building. And I think Trollhunters gets really, really close to it. Not quite as good, but still pretty dang good.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. That was the first when you were kind of winding up that take. Avatar was the first thing in my head too.
Dan, I haven't watched Avatar in a while.
Yeah. Oh, but you've seen it before?
I saw it like when I was like 20.
Oh,
21.
Wow. It's pretty good.
I should watch it again. Yes.
Yeah, I've heard Korra's okay too. I've only saw the first season wasn't that great, but I heard it got a lot better. So
I saw Korra as well around the same time. I watched all of Avatar and then I watched all of Korra afterwards, and I remember very clearly having the opinion that I liked Korra better, although I know that that's not the accurate opinion to have if you want to have friends. So I would like to rewatch it. Yeah, but I think a lot of people that I've heard talk about Avatar have always, like, I don't know, retained the opinion that Korra is weaker. But I remember very clearly liking it more, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to rewatch it. I only saw the first season. I would like to... I think there's 4 now. So.
Oh, wow.
4 seasons?
Yeah.
What do you mean now? Did they make another one?
I don't know. When I had seen Korra, there was only one season out, and there's 4, and it just came out on Netflix, so I wasn't sure if they did like another season or if it. Did you watch 4 when you watched it?
No, I think I only saw 3 seasons.
Okay, well, yeah, there's.
But I don't know. It was literally a decade ago, so I don't remember. But yeah,
I'm gonna rewatch those though. They're pretty good.
What's I've never even heard of Trollhunter. What is that? Sounds like a joke. Sounds like a joke show.
No, it's great. It's a animated show by Guillermo Del Toro.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's why we brought it up. Yeah, so he just, I guess, got commissioned by Netflix to make something, and I don't know if it was specifically a kid show or if that was something he wanted to do, but he made a show called Trollhunters, which is an awful name. I feel like whenever I try to sell somebody on this show, it's a lot of work because it took a lot of work from my friends to get me to watch it initially. But yeah, it follows this kid. It's like one of those, like, it's kind of like Avatar where it's a coming of age story in a way. Like the characters are all youngish in the show. It's like high school, but it's not like a high school show. Like it's like very G-rated high school in a way. But this kid finds this amulet one day when he's going to school, and it turns him into the warrior that is like the protector of troll kind or something weird. And it sounds so dumb, but just the way the world is designed and it builds things up and the storytelling goes, it's really enjoyable. I kind of compare it to like one of the really well done like Pixar or DreamWorks movies. Like probably closer to that's the studio that did it, was DreamWorks. But it's not like top tier Pixar, like not that close, but it's really well done. It's surprising.
What kind of animation is it? Sorry.
Like DreamWorks.
Like 3D.
Oh,
standard.
really?
Yeah, like 3D. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It looks really good. It looks really good.
It does have very good animation.
It has that camp that Gus was talking about.
Like it's got camp in the similar way to like is 3 Below the sci-fi one with the alien kids? Yeah, I liked that one. And that one has camp in a similar way as like Invader Zim, where it feels like you're kind of watching like a Nickelodeon show where the same cast of characters is just going on a new adventure every week. And I think that's a really good thing. I think that's a good quality in a show, but it does lend a campiness to it.
Yeah, you should watch 3 episodes, and they're 20 minutes. So, you commit like now your time, decide if you like it or not. Probably will, but
I mean, I'm looking up pictures of it. It looks like a kid show.
It is a kid show.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like kids in like a Pixar movie or DreamWorks movie way, Like it's not
like How to Train Your Dragon is super
It's primarily kids, yeah, but it's still enjoyable despite that. It's not like a dumb kid show. It's not like watching.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't know any kid shows anymore, but
Camp Rock.
Yeah, like anything like that, maybe Nickelodeon airs or something,
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll consider. I'll probably watch Avatar before I watch this though, just because I've been wanting to do that.
Yeah, Avatar's so good.
I'm probably gonna rewatch Avatar too.
I've been rewatching it. It's very good.
It's probably also been a decade.
Before we move on though, I want to hear y'all's take on who you would have make your video game adaptation, because I think it's just like there's so many weird possibilities across all these.
I mean, I don't want to steal your answer, but I think Guillermo Del Toro would be really good with the Skyrim stuff. But to not take your answer, I will answer. Let's see.
Wes Anderson.
No.
George Lucas.
George Lucas's Skyrim 2.
No. I have it. I would choose Alfonso Cuarón.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Why?
He because like I said, a big draw of an Elder Scrolls movie is kind of the quote unquote sci-fi weirdness, and he's made a lot of weird sci-fi movies. Well, not a lot, but he's made Children of Men, which is like one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time.
Dude, that's one of the best movies of all time.
Yeah, not even in the sci-fi genre, but it's just a really good movie.
Dude, the car scene, the scene with the car.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? Course. Holy shit, bro.
There's like a bunch of really standout scenes. But he also directed the best Harry Potter movie, which is Prisoner of Azkaban, if you didn't know. And so he can handle fantasy pretty well, and I really liked his approach to Prisoner of Azkaban because it kind of brought a realness to the world of Harry Potter. Because I don't know if you when was the last time you guys watched the Harry Potter movies?
Not since like an ABC Family Christmas marathon in like 2004.
Well, they probably only ever show the first two because the first two were very like they're very much still children's movies. But the third one is kind of, and the books are like this too. The third book is where it kind of starts to get real, and Alfonso Cuarón handled that realness so appropriately. Like a good example was just like in the way that the world looks, right? Mm-hmm. Harry Potter 1 and 2 are very bright. Like it was directed by Christopher Columbus, who's like dude, that guy, I don't know. He made like a bunch of like kids movies and
real
stuff.
Real popcorny director.
Yeah, exactly. Like the movies that he makes are very, and this includes the first two Harry Potter movies. They're very bright, mystical, like fun. Like even in the dangerous situations in the movie, you still kind of feel like, ooh, I wonder what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when it comes to, and which is strange because I mean, if you really think about the plot of the second book in particular, it's about a fucking snake that is going around the castle and like paralyzing children, and then I think Harry Potter dies at the end, but then he gets revived by the Phoenix. But
it's also about like racism against centaurs. Isn't that a thing in the second book?
I think that might have been in one of the books. I don't remember which one it was. There was definitely like an element of like I think the fifth book kind of hammered that home. I don't know. I remember
there was like racism against elves in the fifth book. That was a bit with Hermione.
Yeah,
we're getting into a Harry Potter conversation.
Anyway, my point being that when the third movie came along, it was like, oh, Sirius Black he's the person that sent your parents to get killed by Voldemort, and he's also he escaped from prison. He's gonna go kill you, Harry Potter, and it was like kind of a serious situation, and not only that, but like the way that the movie looks is great. It's like much more washed out, like toned down. It seems like they decided to make a conscious switch from like wizardry into like, oh, these are just kids who happen to be wizards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. You'd have to watch the movies to get what I'm talking about. But the first two movies, like Harry Potter and his friends are like in robes the entire movie. Like they're in like wizard robes and hats.
And they're really excited to be there.
And they're like, we're wizards. Hee hee. Look at us. We're in our wizard costumes. And then in the third movie, like I don't think they wear, I think they only wear robes like during like special occasions, like when they're supposed to. Like it's their like, when it's like the thing that they're supposed to put on because Dumbledore said. But most of the movie, they're like wearing street clothes and they just like whip wands out every once in a while. And I think that it's really, that's where the movies kind of took a turn for like the more relatable, I guess, the more interesting. Like if I were to do a Harry Potter marathon, I probably would just skip the first two movies. Like I mean, what is there to know?
They seem like they're from a different franchise because the third movie also set the tone for the next 5-6 movies.
Yes, exactly. Like that, I think Alfonso Cuarón like did such a bang up job with the third movie that like everybody who directed the movies from that point on were just trying to copy him. They were just trying to like do an Alfonso Cuarón impression. So anyway, I think that he would handle fantasy and sci-fi. He has handled fantasy and sci-fi extremely well. And that combination is kind of why I like a lot of elements of Elder Scrolls. So I think that he would be great with that. Plus, he would do a lot of one shots, one shot takes and stuff like that, which I'm a big fan of because I'm a I'm a film student.
Are the Harry Potter movies worth watching? I've actually only seen the first two.
Dude, you still
Really? You saw the worst two of them.
Yeah, I only cared about them when I was a kid. I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. Like I saw the first two movies when I was in elementary school or whatever. And I think I read all the books when I was on a road trip when I was 15. Mm-hmm. And I've never gone back. I don't even know how the final book ends. I read 6 of the books. I didn't actually finish all of them.
Okay, so this is a minor spoiler, but I do want to say Hagrid does kiss Harry on the lips at the end of the
He does.
7th
He
book.
gives him a big wet one. He says, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that."
Wait, is this pre or post Pottermore edition?
Yeah, it depends. I'm pretty sure J.K. Rowling just tweeted yesterday that actually Harry Potter and Hagrid kissed behind the woods.
Oh, and did I mean they kissed their lips? I meant never mind.
They kissed. Yeah. Anyway, I grew up a huge Harry Potter fan. I'm still a huge fan of the books and movies. I haven't really revisited the movies or the books in a very long time. However, I feel like I've read the books so goddamn much by now that I don't even have to read them anymore. They're in my brain. But the movies are not bad. I mean, they're pretty accurate representations of the books. They did as well as you can when it comes to like movie to or book to movie like adaptations, I think. And it's mostly in the casting, to be honest. The cast of the movies is like perfect as far as I'm concerned.
So are they worth watching?
Okay.
I think so.
I mean, long story short, definitely. I mean, yeah, sure. But if I were to really give you a recommendation, I would say just read the books again. Like that's the real way to experience Harry Potter. Obviously, I think anybody who's read the books and seen the movies could tell you that, though. But if you want like an abridged version, then yeah, the Harry Potter movies are great. But I still stand by my opinion that the first two are like pretty lackluster as far as just like entertainment goes because of the way that they were directed. Like nothing against Christopher Columbus. I think he's an alright director. It's just that he's so like, I don't know, it's so boring. He's very like Hollywood, I guess.
Well,
so yeah. What were we gonna move on to? Because we still have to hear your answer.
Oh, I don't have a particular affinity for like a director. I think like I can't do like a fantasy director draft. You know, like I don't.
Yeah.
Like I know some directors' names and I think they're good, but I wouldn't ever be like, oh, you Safdie brothers do this.
Safdie brothers, Magic the Gathering. Honestly, they would kill it, dude. They would absolutely kill Magic the Gathering movie.
The Magic the Gathering movie where everybody's face is taking up the entire frame.
And their eyes shrink.
And everybody's talking over each other like, no, I'm gonna cast you into the Shadow Realm, or I don't know what magic.
No, you've activated my trap card.
I think whoever did a lot of the Castlevania Netflix series would be a good pick, though.
Ooh,
I think they translated a non-television medium into a flat representation where you just watch it and find a narrative. So I think whoever was involved with that should be involved with the Magic movie.
Dude, the guy who was, I think, the showrunner for Castlevania on Netflix, they profiled him in this really bad Netflix produced documentary on Netflix produced animes. I forget even what it's called. This documentary sucks, honestly, and you should not watch it. But there is a portion of it focused on the creator of the Castlevania Netflix series, and this guy lives in his real life as like a cyber vampire. He like claims that he is a vampire, wears like capes and trench coats and shit. And he looks like he's in like the Matrix, but also a vampire, and that's like his day to day.
Okay, I changed my answer then.
Okay, I also before we move on, I want to point this out. I don't know, this might have been something you guys have never even experienced because it might have been slightly before your time, but there was this movie that I had on VHS growing up called A Little Princess.
Yeah, that movie's really good, dude.
Is?
That movie's really good.
No, what is it?
It's just I don't know. It's like a movie. It's kind of like Matilda, except really dark, and she doesn't have any powers.
What's Matilda?
You don't know? Oh my god. Okay.
Matilda's
Well, never
so
mind.
Matilda's based on a Roald Dahl book. It's a movie with the girl from Miracle on 34th Street remake from like the 90s. She was like in a bunch of 90s
I haven't seen
movies.
that either.
Oh.
Okay, well,
classic.
Anyway, it's a movie that I remember very fondly growing up because, I mean, as a child of the 90s, I had pretty much just a collection of VHS tapes that I watched on repeat every single day. And one of those movies was A Little Princess. I just found out that that's directed by Alfonso Cuarón. I had no idea.
Oh, nice.
Whoa.
That's so strange.
Whoa. I had no idea.
That is so random. Like,
I always really liked
hell?
that movie growing up.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was a kid, I was just like, oh, yeah, the movie's pretty good. I watch it all the time. And now it's like, oh, one of my favorite directors made that movie? What the hell?
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. Anyway. And on Alfonso Cuarón's news, I just wanted to ask, have you guys seen Roma?
I have not seen it, but I'm a big fan of a picture I saw of someone watching it on a 3DS, which I thought was really funny.
That's pretty funny.
Roma
is
an immigrant woman in the United States raising her family.
It's very different from his other movies, but it's so good. Apparently, it's more like autobiographical because it takes place around the time that he would be a child. And apparently, when he was growing up, he had a Mexican what would you call it? Like not a maid, but like
nanny,
like someone that
housekeeper.
Yeah, housekeeper. I guess he had like a housekeeper, and he like really liked her, and she basically was like a part of the family and stuff, even though like she was very clearly she wasn't really a part of their family, but they treated her like that. And it kind of follows her story during like Mexico in the 1970s, which I guess was like a kind of a turbulent time for Mexico. So it's like kind of interesting in that way, but it's like it's very personal. Like there's not a whole lot about the movie that's flashing the same way as other movies are, but it's still really, really cool. And the whole movie's in black and white. It looks really good. It's like, I'm not usually a fan of black and white shot movies, but I think that he did a really good job with like making the movie like interesting to watch still. Like the cinematography is really, really good, both in the way that it's lit and like the shots and stuff. But it's all in Spanish, so you'd have to watch it with subtitles. But it's probably one of the best foreign films I've seen ever, to be honest. I think it's really good.
I would just like to take a moment and say it warms my heart that in a conversation about what movie directors would you have direct these video games, we've chosen two Mexican directors, Guillermo Del Toro and Alfonso Cuarón.
That's true. I mean, Mexico's freaking killing it. What's the other? Who's the third one? There's like another. There's another Mexican. The guy that made like The Revenant. I forget his name. He's Mexican too. Like there are a bunch of Mexican directors that are like really going crazy.
Oh, Alejandro Iñárritu.
Yeah. He's also killing it lately. I think Mexico is the new Hollywood.
Yeah, it warms my heart. It warms my heart. Now, I've wanted to see Roma. My grandmother immigrated. My grandma came from Mexico in the 50s, and I thought Roma would really speak to me, but I have not seen it. I would really like to.
It's a Netflix film. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, that movie came out. That was like in Netflix's big push for an Academy Award winning movie, like along with like The Irishman, which I think honestly
they're still making that push, but yeah,
really good.
There's a definite like attempt to. They're trying to legitimize themselves as like a production company, so it's kind of neat.
It's hard when they make so much bullshit, like so many Netflix originals are so dumb, and even their quote unquote good stuff is bad. Like I really enjoy The Umbrella Academy, and I think Matt, maybe you watched it. Did you watch The Umbrella Academy?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I really like The Umbrella Academy. I've watched like the first maybe 3 or 4 episodes of the second season, finished the first season. I like it. It reminds me of like an emo X-Men, and the X-Men are like my favorite superhero group, but it just has this like CW quality to it where it just looks like they kind of phoned in a lot of the production And a lot of Netflix shows have this. Trollhunters does not. Doesn't sound like Roma does. The Irishman definitely doesn't. But so much. I mean, Netflix just puts out so much that it's just tiringly bad sometimes.
I mean,
just
the Irishman. I mean, it's really funny. People were like praising the visual effects on like making him look younger and stuff, but I don't see it. I don't see what they're talking about. I think it looks bad.
Really? Oh man, I thought the faces were really well done, but Robert De Niro still had old man body when he was like playing his 30-year-old
That's
self.
a big part of it, I think. And like it's so weird that they overlooked that fact. I mean, like, Robert De Niro's like 80 years old. You can't put a freaking young man's face on a 80-year-old man and have him still act the same.
Yeah, they just had him wear really baggy clothes whenever he was young.
I think it's like entirely like Martin Scorsese like talked to some like 25-year-old guy who's just like, dude, I'm so good at like doing this. Please let me do it, Martin Scorsese. And he's just like, yeah. Martin Scorsese is just like, oh, okay, I trust you. And then like the technology just isn't there. But I mean, like he still wanted to make them. He wanted to make another movie with like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino and stuff. And he's like, but they're freaking old. Oh well. I think he could have made a. I don't know. I don't understand why that movie had to take place over such a long period of time. He could have made the movie about like the last like half of the movie. He could have probably just cut the movie in half. Like
that is
the beginning of the movie. I don't even remember what fucking happened. Like it was so boring.
Union
like a meat truck.
Stuff. Yeah,
yeah, but that's so
shoots people.
Yeah, but I mean,
involved
like
with the mob via the union at his meat packing company or whatever company he worked at.
Yeah, I don't know. Like those extended scenes where he's a young man are so pointless to me. But then again, I only saw it one time, and I remember just being underwhelmed by it because I was super excited for a new Martin Scorsese movie, especially with such a star-studded cast. And I think the best actor in the movie was freaking Ray Romano.
I was thinking the same thing. Ray Romano's character was so funny.
I loved him in that. I think Ray Romano is a great actor.
Loves him.
Yeah, everybody loves Raymond. But I think I think Ray Romano needs to make like a crazy Hollywood comeback. He's like a great actor. I love him.
Yeah, he needs his Uncut Gems moment.
He does. He really does. Can you imagine Uncut Gems with Ray Romano instead of Adam Sandler?
Kevin, I'll get your gem,
Kevin. Come on, please calm down. I'll get your gem.
And then Brad Garrett. Wait, what if Brad Garrett played Kevin Garnett?
Yeah. I'll win the basketball game. I love that. That's like one of my. I mean, I'm not a big fan of sitcoms anymore, but I remember growing up, Everybody Loves Raymond was definitely like top 5 that I used to watch all the time.
It is a very good one. That and Seinfeld are two of my favorites.
I never watched Seinfeld growing up, but
wow,
I don't know. I was more of a. Here's the thing. I think there are 2 types of people in this world. There are people who watch Seinfeld, and there were people who watched Friends. And I was a Friends guy.
Ugh.
And you know why?
Why didn't you watch both?
Seinfeld's so much better.
I don't know. I think they might have been on at the same time or something.
I think they're both great.
Yeah, I'm sure they're both great, but I
Friends
just
sucks.
I never grew up with Seinfeld. Is my point.
Friends is straight up bad and does not hold.
I watched adult
opinion.
Seinfeld, which was not adult Seinfeld, but I watched the new Seinfeld, which is Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Seinfeld After Dark.
That's basically just Seinfeld, but they don't censor the bad words.
Yeah, that's true. Curb is incredible.
I mean, it's so much. I've seen a few episodes of Seinfeld. I'm just like, okay, this is basically just Curb Your Enthusiasm with different characters. Like,
God,
it's very,
Curb Your
very
Enthusiasm.
similar.
That show is so good. And I just love George Costanza in Seinfeld, and then Larry David, I think, based George Costanza off of himself largely. And that just makes Curb Your Enthusiasm just the best. Like, every episode is just focused on Larry David doing something horrible and just getting punished for it.
So many social like mistakes. Although I will say I haven't seen like the last like 5 seasons of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, me neither actually.
And then I randomly decided to watch a new one, like, because I was bumming off someone's HBO. I think I still am, but I was like, oh, I'll just watch like whatever the newest episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm is. And it's like, it's such a weird experience. I highly recommend you go and you watch at least one episode because it was so dense with like Larryisms that it was like unbearable. Like I actually hated watching it because it felt like every new scene was a new like attempt at doing like a Larry David meme, you know what I mean? And the thing that I always liked about Curb Your Enthusiasm was they take like one or two of those Larry David-isms and they stretch it out over the entire episode, and it just keeps coming back to haunt him throughout the rest of the episode until finally at the end it like does him in, and then it ends with the fucking Curb Your Enthusiasm theme. Like that's the format of the show, but they would seriously every single scene there was like 2 or 3 different things where they're just like, Larry, I can't believe you did that. Hey, what am I gonna do? I'm Larry David. Like it would happen so often that I was just like, oh my god, I can't handle this anymore. Like please just stop. It's so overwhelming. I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but I think it's just because I made the jump from like season 5 to season 11 or something. Like they probably have been ramping it up to the point that it's at now, but it was so crazy.
You're saying that there's been Larry David power creep?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. There was a power creep, and I got shocked. I had a shock to the system when I experienced it.
Man, my favorite Larry David-ism from the seasons that I've watched are when Funkhauser, who is one of Larry's friends, who's this like old like basketball coach or something, his I think his mom dies and Larry's on the way Larry's on the way to Funkhauser's mom's funeral, and on the way there he realizes that he didn't bring flowers. He's like, oh shit. And on the side of the road there's like a memorial for someone who got like hit by a car, and he grabs some of the flowers from that memorial and brings them to the funeral. And he thinks like, oh damn, okay, I saved the day. You know, good. This is a good day to be Larry David. And then he finds out that Funkhauser's mom got killed by being hit by a car, and Funkhauser's like trying to find the guy who stole the flowers at his mom's memorial.
That's great. That's awesome.
Every episode's basically that same formula, just like you're saying. But there's so many good ones.
I do like that though. Like that's something that happens over the course of like the episode though. That's the strength of it. Like one of the best episodes is when he like cuts the hair off of one of his friend's wife's kids' dolls.
Oh yeah.
And like that whole episode is just based on one thing, that he accidentally cut the hair off of or not that he even accidentally did it. The kid like blamed it on him. And then everybody's mad at him and he's trying to fix it, and the whole time he's trying to fix it he's just making it worse and worse.
It's a beautiful thing. Thing. You know what?
I haven't seen this show either.
Cancel my original take. I would actually like Larry David to produce a Bloodborne movie.
Direct a Bloodborne movie. Hey, I'm Bloodborne. Come on.
Hey, Lovecraft monsters. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? You are pretty scary.
Also, I heard that in the newer seasons he divorced his wife, which I was like,
yeah, he does.
Kind of disappointed in, because I can see why they. I asked my friend about that. He was a big fan of the show. He's like, so wait, why did he get a divorce with his wife? Like, doesn't make any sense. Like, doesn't did the actual Larry David get divorced? And he's like, no, they just wrote it that way in the show so that he could like have more opportunities for cringe and stuff whenever he would like go and date people, which I guess makes sense. But I always
really
thought
like
his
Cheryl.
wife was like one of the better characters. So
yeah, she was really funny.
I want to watch this now.
Definitely.
Oh my God, dude.
There's
It's
so
one of
many
the best.
seasons, but I mean, I'd say as far as I can tell, as soon as the Larry David-isms start ramping up, probably cut it short, because it's like
I'll just start at season 11.
Yeah, work your way backwards, and he gets progressively less awkward. There's what's the opposite of power creep? He gets nerfed. Larry David.
The new episode I watched because like I guess Donald Trump accidentally, I mean like not accidentally, but he tweeted a clip from the show. I guess he didn't realize that like the clip was actually just making fun of him, but apparently there was a new episode, and I watched the episode. This is the episode I'm talking about, where it was just like overwhelming. But there's a gag in the show that was actually really funny, where since Larry David lives in LA, he found that by just wearing a MAGA hat, like nobody would talk to him.
And he's like, great.
So he's like, he doesn't even like Donald Trump, but he still wears the MAGA hat so that people like don't they always like see him and they're like, oh, I don't want to talk to that guy. And he's like, this is a great way of like getting out of conversations. You just put the MAGA hat on. And there were a lot of really funny scenes where like somebody's like bothering him and asking him for something, and then he like just kind of takes the MAGA hat out and puts it on, and then it was like, I gotta go. And apparently there's like a scene where like he cuts off some motorcyclist or something, and the motorcyclist like pulls up behind him or pulls up next to him at a stoplight and starts like cussing him out, and then he puts the MAGA hat on and the motorcyclist like gets scared and drives away. And that was the clip that like Trump tweeted and said like, hell yeah. And all of his comments are like, you idiot, this is like to imply that like nobody likes you. This isn't badass. Like he probably was like, yeah, that's badass that like my hat scares people away. This is cool.
I mean, maybe if he's trying to attract a new demographic of people who are like Larry
people
David,
who,
I guess.
Yeah. People who want to get out of conversations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Larry David's Bloodborne on the release schedule.
We went on a tangent though. What were we talking about before that?
We were talking about what directors would helm your favorite video game franchise.
Yeah. We already came up with the answers though. We did it.
Yeah.
We did it.
We did it, boys. We got him.
We got him. Okay, this is tangentially video game related. In that there has been a number of video games that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has been in or a part of. But how crazy is it? I don't know why I was thinking about this. I think, Matt, you were a part of this conversation. But how crazy is it?
Oh my God.
That Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson found out about Osama bin Laden being assassinated before any other American outside of SEAL Team 6. Like someone from SEAL Team 6 straight up texted The Rock, like, we just killed bin Laden. And then The Rock went on fucking Twitter and was like, guys, I just heard some amazing news that makes me proud to be an American. You guys are going to be so excited to hear about this, but I can't say anything. And then it turned out that Osama bin Laden had been assassinated.
That's funny. I think it's funny that somebody on SEAL Team 6 like texted The Rock like he just texted his mom that he got a promotion or something.
Yeah, it's like after you kill bin Laden, the government is like, okay, you get one thing, you can do anything. What do you want to do? And someone was like, I just watched the new Fast and Furious film. I thought Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was great. I gotta let him know.
This is super strange.
Yo, Dwayne, you're not gonna believe where I am right now.
He sends him a text, like it sends him a photo of him like next to dead bin Laden. Check it out.
Like, dude, guess who I just met?
Dwayne, you are not gonna believe this. Dwayne, who is this? Yeah, I just thought that was crazy. Mm-hmm. Just wanted to share that with the group.
That's funny. I didn't know about that because I'm like. There was a point where a couple years ago I was like obsessed with the assassination of Bin Laden, like just the assassination of Bin Laden, because it's so crazy to me. That
I like
story.
where this podcast is going.
No. I'm just I just want to bring up like that. I don't know. I was on one of these like Wikipedia tears one night, and I was just I looked up everything there is to know about that event, and that's really funny. That,
one of my friends has Bin Laden's chessboard.
What?
Does he really?
Yeah. One of the guys I used to work with, he was part of not the raid that took him out, but they did I guess a couple. He was deployed over there for a while during the war, and one of the places they raided, he just took a chessboard. So he just has one of fucking Bin Laden's chessboards.
You know what's crazy is that I get this sense, I mean, like, it's not reported this way because, like, I mean, they just report what happens. But I get this sense that after they killed Bin Laden, they had this, like, sense about it where it was kind of like in the same way where after a team in a video game wins, they say GG.
Yeah.
Because they gave him a burial at sea. And that to me is, like, just so wild. Like, they they killed him, and then they're just like, all right, he deserves it. He fought a good fight, but in the end, we won. We got to at least give him, send him off in a respectful manner. GG boys, good game. Like that's like the sense that I get from the ending of that story, and it's so like weird. I don't know if that's true or not, but like when I read about it, I don't know. In my mind, I was just like, it felt like at least SEAL Team 6, or at least the people who were like in charge of it, were just like, all right, we got him. Good game. We got him.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah. Counter-terrorists win.
Yeah, speaking of Osama bin Laden, I heard I heard that via a, I think, Freedom of Information Act request, you can actually download Osama bin This is so crazy. This is so wild. You could download Osama bin Laden's Animal Crossing save file.
What?
Yeah, apparently
Animal Crossing New Leaf?
I don't know which version, but apparently you can download bin Laden's straight up Animal Crossing save file.
Wait.
And he had a bunch of other stuff. Like he had like Counter-Strike installed on his computer. He had a bunch of like anime and stuff.
There's got to be like a
Wild
video of
World.
somebody.
What?
There's got to be a video of somebody like going in his town and stuff.
I'm sure there is. I have not seen that myself, but if you
I typed in
TV land,
I typed in Osama bin Laden into YouTube, and it automatically auto-filled Osama bin Laden death video.
Not quite what you were looking for.
First of all, that doesn't exist. All of those videos are fake, but yeah.
Yeah, personally, I would much rather walk around his village than watch him get absolutely
You're right, dude.
Just
Animal Crossing Wild World.
Yeah, I don't have currently a copy of Wild World that I could use to explore Osama bin Laden's town. But
I think YouTube's filtering this because I don't see it auto-filled it, but then it doesn't come up with any relevant results. That's really weird. I think that they don't want me to see his world.
So I have one of the ROM cards you need to download this stuff. Maybe I'll try to find this.
You should. You absolutely should. Then please report back details.
Okay. Yeah, will do. This might be my weekend project, boys.
Okay, so we've talked about, I think what we wanted to cover really was Osama bin Laden and just his ties to the video game world. But besides that, we had just been playing, and if you're watching this podcast, you can see this. We've just been playing Fall Guys. And
oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, we probably should talk about it since it's like probably on screen right now that we're just sitting here.
Yeah, Fall Guys is, I think, very fun. And at this point in history, on August 19th, 2020, Fall Guys feels like it is the shit right now. Like, it kind of feels like when Fortnite first came out, or first started getting popular, and it was just all anyone was playing or streaming. Like, feels like Twitch has been taken over by Fall Guys. It feels like my Twitter feed is just a bunch of people talking about Fall Guys. I've seen like serious game journalists, I guess, serious games journalists, but I've seen serious discussion on game journalism Twitter about Fall Guys as a game of the year contender. And yeah, I don't know if I've played enough to agree, but I mean, it's really fun.
I'm going to refund it.
Are you really?
Really?
Yeah, anybody saying this is game of the year, that's kind of strange. Maybe like Zeitgeist for sure, but I'm already over it after 60 minutes of playing. We played the same game mode like every time. Like, I don't know. It's super it just
I'm definitely on the same I'm on the same I'm in the same boat as you. But I wouldn't refund it though, because it's still a fun game to play with people, but like your attention is so like not even needed to play it. It's so like background noise to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm going to refund it though, is because I was really interested in it because it looked fun. I was like, this game looks like it's taken over everything right now. It's huge. Everybody's streaming it, whatever. So it had my attention, but nobody I knew besides, I guess, you guys got it. And I can't imagine we're going to play it a whole lot together.
Yeah, it
So,
makes sense that you wouldn't get it if nobody else is playing it. I mean,
yeah.
I mostly just have it because occasionally, one of my friend groups will be like, "Hey, does anyone want to play Fall Guys?" So, but it's it's such a casual game to me. I mean, like I was talking to one of my friends about this game, and he really really loves it. And I started like kind of bringing up my gripes about it, which is like it feels like you're not in a whole lot of control when it comes to like actually winning. It's very much random. A lot of the games are very RNG based. And halfway through, he was just like, "Dude, I don't, I don't want to even talk about this because like I don't. When I think about this game, I don't even think about it on a like competitive level. I don't think about it on like a fairness level. I just think it's fun, right? And it kind of made me realize like, oh, I think video games are fun for like a completely different reason than probably what a lot of people who play video games think video games are fun for. Like they're not thinking that much about the game. They're just like, "Oh, this is fun. I fell down. Oh, I got to the end." Like that's as far as it goes. And they don't think about like the fairness or the mechanics or anything like that. And once you start talking about it, it probably ruins the game for people. But I don't know. I get so much. A lot of my fun is like talking about the game, and
Yeah.
and when I talk about the game, there's just so much to criticize that I don't. That kind of keeps me from playing it as like a mainstay game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm very much the same way. I think mechanics are one of the things I look for most in a game and are one of the more important things to me.
Yeah,
So
for sure, for sure.
I've been having a great time with it. I played it a bunch on PS4 already because it's free on PlayStation Plus right now, and we played it right before this. Yeah, it's just so original to me because I like I like the mechanics of a battle royale and how hard fought a victory feels. And I've always thought games or TV shows like Wipeout or similar things like that were really just funny to watch. And a cool thing about Fall Guys is that it's really fun to watch. Like actually, when all of us were playing right before the podcast, there was a handful of times where we didn't even notice that all of us were out and we were all still watching the game because the game is formatted like a game show, and those are just fun to watch. And there's these little jelly bean guys getting knocked into slime. I love that. I love the whole vibe of Fall Guys. And do I think it has like the staying power of Fortnite? Probably not. Do I think it's a Game of the Year contender? Absolutely not.
God. I was like, I don't want to have this conversation with you.
No, I, as someone who played The Last of Us Part 2, I can't imagine another game reaching the heights that game reaches, and Fall Guys certainly does not. But I mean, I find it really fun. I find it really addicting in a way that I don't find a lot of games. And
Well, it's like the battle
it's just so
royale
original.
format. It's like, oh, I didn't win, so I'm just gonna try again, and you just keep doing that on repeat.
But Fall
Over and
Guys
over.
feels a lot more bite-sized. Like I don't feel like
Oh, of course.
it has the emotional overhead of like, I guess I'll play another Fortnite game and I might get close to winning after spending 30, 40 minutes and then just die. Or like Warzone or, and insert any other battle royale here. It feels like, you said, like super casual. And I think it's nice. And I like that it's so, what's the phrase? It's just so zany. It's like, it's not trying to make you feel any sort of way other than silly, and I think that's really cool. A commitment to silliness that Fall Guys has.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
That's good that you like that.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It's like a
That's
positive
nice.
thing to see on my feeds, and it's like a wholesome game to watch in the way that like Animal Crossing is, where it's like
I think it's more fun to watch than play, to be honest. I think it's a great stream game because
Definitely
it's something that requires the streamer's attention, so it's not like an AFK game, but it also is so laid back that the streamer can also kind of interact with the audience. It's like a really great balance. And I've watched my fair bit of Twitch, and it's difficult because a lot of games demand a certain percentage of the like streamer's attention, and I feel like there's no point in streaming if the streamer's attention is 100% on the game. But at the same time, if they're not even a little bit paying attention to the game, then the streamer isn't interesting. So it's like you have to like strike this balance, and I think Fall Guys kind of achieves that balance in a weird way. So it's nice to have like streamers on in the background who are playing it. Somebody that I've actually been having a lot of fun watching play Fall Guys is XQC. Do you guys know who that is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
of course. Our
He's
friend, our friend John used to play Overwatch with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
cool. He's he back when he was playing Overwatch, I actually didn't really like him very much, but I think it is because Overwatch as a community is very toxic.
Well,
and
he's also
kind of
just a toxic piece of shit too.
Yeah, that's true. But lately, I feel like he's turned that toxicity into like more comedy than anything. It's very strange. It's like you'd have to watch it to understand what I'm talking about, I guess. But his stream doesn't feel hostile anymore, and any time that he is getting pissed off, it's very much he's very clear that he's just joking or like playing into it. When he was playing Overwatch, it definitely felt like he was being fucking serious about everything he was saying. Definitely felt a little bit more hostile and weird. But when he's playing Fall Guys, it's pretty funny because he takes it. He plays it up, but he takes it seriously. But it's also like entirely a chaotic game, so it plays to his strengths, I think. Yeah. It's more difficult to watch people play the game because I've watched a few different people play Fall Guys, and when they approach it from a point of like, oh, I didn't qualify. Oh well, that's lame. I want to see people get into the game and try and win, you know. But that's just how
I guess and take it seriously.
Yeah, but it's like it's funny to see somebody take such a casual game seriously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
So like the entertainment value is there, but whenever you're taking the game seriously and failing at it, it's not fun anymore because it's happening to you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's definitely more fun as a spectator sport for that reason, at least for me. And now, when I first installed the game, I was definitely taking it seriously. And then when I lost one too many times, I was just like, all right, I get it. This game isn't intended to be serious. It's just goofy, and I can kind of enjoy it now. But at the same time, it doesn't hit that spot for me. It doesn't hit that like I don't know. Every game that I play has to have a little bit of a meta. Has to have a little bit of like a goal to achieve that goes beyond just beating it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I feel like I have to beat it in the most efficient way possible in order to actually get my enjoyment out of it, instead of like just trying to throw shit at the wall until something works. So it's I don't know. It's a weird game to be. I wouldn't say it's a weird game to be popular because like August was saying, it's very wholesome. It's very much a deviant from the norm of like the gaming industry, because the gaming industry has definitely been leaning into the more competitive aspect of video games in the last few years. So this is kind of like a return to form, I guess, of like the mobile game era. That's a little bit more wholesome. And right now with the world going to shit, I can see why people would want to experience that instead of like having to worry about being good at something. So yeah, I understand, but yeah.
And you can be a French fry.
You
can be a freaking French fry. You can be Scout from TF2. You can be Half-Life Gordon. You can be a soda. You can be a candy. You can be a dinosaur. You can be a different dinosaur. Yeah. It's so much fun. Whee!
Yeah, that's what I love about Fall Guys, is that I feel like whenever I see people posting about it, it's just that energy on my timeline.
Yeah. I'm creeped out by that energy.
By happiness?
Because it feels joy? It feels disingenuous. What's the word? It doesn't feel genuine. People are just pushing aside life. It's okay.
Maybe they actually are happy though.
Maybe.
You consider that Dane?
It certainly doesn't feel that way, is what I'm saying.
Maybe.
I don't know. I think I have a tendency to overthink everything, and I overthink when someone is being a certain way, and I think to myself, what are you hiding?
What are you hiding?
So when you see someone happy about jelly beans falling off of styrofoam,
I say, what
discs?
are you using? How are you using this to shove down the real problems in your life that you're not solving?
It's like, could you be a little more depressed, please?
No, I don't want them to be depressed. I just think that I don't know. I don't want to get too philosophical about Fall Guys. I'm just saying, like, in general, when I see someone like, I don't know, saying like positive vibes only, it's like, well, what like problems are you setting aside in order to just ignore, because you just don't want to deal with it. You know what I mean?
I heard Bin Laden was like that.
I heard Bin Laden, he was hiding in his little bunker. I looked up a little bit more about it. Apparently he was also playing Pokemon Diamond.
Wow.
No way.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, I wonder what his team was.
Yeah.
So he was blocking out his negativity. He was like, I want only positive vibes only. I want only Pokemon. I want only Animal Crossing. It's a really good Bin Laden impression, by the way. But yeah,
cut that out.
If you could find his Pokemon Diamond file and tell me what his team was.
Yeah, I'll try. I'll have to fish out I still have a DS. I still have that ROM cart. And I guess I could also just do an emulator. That might be easiest. But
Yeah. I briefly looked on Twitter and somebody tried to use an emulator to play it, his Wild World file, but he said that it didn't work.
Oh no.
Okay, so at least I have my DS then. I don't know. If we can get Pokemon to work, we could actually battle each other with Bin Laden.
You could battle Bin Laden in Pokemon.
Take him down once and for all.
That would be amazing. That would honestly be like video worthy, I think.
Pikachu, we got him.
Zycrom, we got him.
Zycrom.
Isn't Zycrom? Oh no, that's Pokemon Black and White.
You sound like my mom. What's that one? Zycrom? What's that one? What's the turtle one? Squirtle, Mom. It's literally turtle with squirt at the beginning.
It's Turtle's better than Squirtle.
What's the turtle that squirts water? It's Squirtle, Mom.
It's Zycrom, Mom.
What's the dragon? It's Charzard. Yeah, I like that one. That's my favorite.
Actually, I think she's talking about Dratini.
Actually, Charizard's not even dragon type. He's fire flying. He got a dragon type in X and Y when he got his mega evolution.
Yeah, that is kind of fucked,
What is?
That Charizard was never a dragon. I understand dragons didn't exist back then.
No, they did.
No, there was dragon type in the first gen.
Was dragon.
Yeah. Dragonite, I think, was one of the only dragon types in the game, actually.
Okay, Charizard is literally a dragon.
Yeah, I know, which is why it was strange.
He's actually a fire
lizard. Yeah, it is odd to go back and realize like they definitely missed out on it. But I could understand why they wouldn't want to make one of the starter Pokemon dragon type, which was literally the most broken. Well, not the most broken, but one of the best types in the game back when the first game first came out. The best type in the game is probably Psychic very early on.
Yeah.
Because it was like immune to Ghost or something ridiculous. Like,
I think the way the game is set up, Psychic is just the strongest type because it's better than any of the other stronger types you're going to face.
Yeah.
At least the YouTube video said that.
I think they wanted to make Mewtwo really strong. So they were just like, let's make him Psychic type and then also make Psychic type the best type.
Yeah.
And then they made Alakazam, and then you can catch an Abra, and then you can win. So,
but it's so damn hard to catch an Abra.
They always teleport away. Oh my god, come back!
This is my reaction when an Abra teleports away. What?
I play the Earthbound music, and then I have the black border, and it says in Times New Roman at the bottom. It just says what, how.
That's a good meme.
It is one of my favorite memes of the current year.
Of the current meta?
Of current year. The current meme meta?
Mm-hmm.
I think love the current meme meta.
It's very post irony.
Yeah. I mean, it's
like
almost, it's
so
not as
many
good as
levels.
the Rage Face meta, but it's still pretty good.
Get out. You're fired.
It's like just circling back to cringe.
That was me imitating a Rage Face.
Oh, yeah. This is me. You're all imitating another one. Me gusta.
Dude, I actually heard that Osama bin Laden loved Rage comics.
Yeah, I heard he imitated the pho one at the very end.
Who's at the door? SEAL Team 6? Pho!
What about Rage Face comic Bin Laden?
What about Peter Griffin real life?
When when Bin Laden got killed, he went pho. And then the SEAL Team 6 said challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, and then they killed him. They were like,
one of
success.
The high-tier memes. I'm gonna
Wait, what the hell? What is this? Like, who the fuck made that? What is this trying to say? I don't give a fuck. Okay, cool comic. Why is that funny?
Matt, you have to put your shitty meme edited into the video so everyone can see how shitty it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but speaking of Osama bin Laden, this has been stop with the memes. Stop.
Flash that lol on screen for like a second.
These are all so bad. I'm trying to close up the goddamn podcast, Matt, and you keep showing me Rage comics from when I was in fucking 8th grade.
Try again.
Okay, everybody, as you as you were all well aware, this stop. I am being attacked. By cringe, weaponized cringe. This of course has been the Motion Pixels podcast. I'm your co-host, August Meyer. August, say goodbye. Big Gusta goodbyes. Joined, of course, by my co-host, Matthew Rawlings. Matthew, say goodbye. And graciously joined, wonderfully, tastefully, just beautifully, also by Uncle Dane, Kevin Cook. Dane, say goodbye.
True story.
Stop. Because this has been the Motion Pixels podcast. Please end it.
I'm finished.
I got one more.
What is it?
See, that actually makes sense. What's with the troll face in the top?
The troll face is a little sprinkle you need.